Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Don't You Know I've Had a Stroke. My name's Mike Peters, and this is my stroke show. And today I have a fantastic guest who I feel like is my best friend, but he lives on the other side of the world in America. But um, we'll introduce him. Just to let you know, we are live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. And if you're listening, please comment and say your name and where you're from. Thank you. And without further ado, let me introduce Paul Cummings. Hi,
Hi,
Paul.
what's going on?
Hang on, let me bring you all. There you go.
Thank you. So fancy.
Yeah, I'm right, Paul. Thank you for being on my show.
I really excited about being on your show.
You've been a true inspiration to me in the last few months when I can stay awake.
You know, I spent a lot of time in your country, a lot. 15 years, half the year.
Right, without further ado, can you tell me your story, Paul, please?
Before stroke or after stroke?
Both, please.
I was a salesman first. Got dropped out of school, tore my knee up, couldn't play ball, so I just went into the car business and found my way in the real estate business, found my way in the insurance business, and at 26, I got a brain cramp. I called my father and I said, "Dad, I want to open a business." And he said, "What's that?" "You know, you need to go back to school. You don't know anything." I said, "Well, I want to open a business and I'm going to charge people to see me talk." And he said, "You've lost your mind." And he said to my mom, "Shirley, come here. Talk some sense in this boy. He's lost it." So my mom got on the phone, South Louisiana, French Acadiana speaking. And she said, "What's that you're going to do, boy?" I said, "Mom, I'm going to charge people to come see me talk." And she said, without hesitation, she said, "Charge by the word. You never shut up. You're going to be rich." So I opened my business and didn't make any money the first 2 years, just broke even. Really small regional following. And I was young. Nobody knew who I was. But I had a break. I was invited to speak at a large convention, and it just blew up from there. So I spoke to 6 continents, 2.5 million people all over the world, filled the Twickenham Rugby Stadium in London. That was fun. I got them all up doing this twist. This guy from the London Times said, "You're loud and over here. What do you know about business in England?" I said, "Well, I'll bet you $1 I can get them up and twisting in 5 seconds. You come to the show." And we did, and we had a good time. So I was just traveling all over the world, Mike. I was having the time of my life. I'd written several best-selling books. I was on a tour, all of England, Ireland, Scotland, Paris, Italy.
Wales?
Italy.
Wales?
Yes, all over. And we went to from there to Dubai, and went from there to Australia, and went from there to London, to New Zealand, and back to Hawaii, back to San Francisco, back to Los Angeles, back to Atlanta, back to my parents for Mother's Day.
I say hello to a few people. Salute Celinda from Inglewood, California. We know
She's the
Celinda.
best.
She is. I feel sorry for Tom, but I love Salute.
Well, I think she has a good way of taking care of Tom. And we had a chance to talk yesterday, just friends. And I just wanted to provide somebody that you can talk to. We do all these shows, but it was important to me to just call and say to Salute, I care about you. I care about Tom. Is there anything that I can do to help? So I'll finish my story. I got to my mom's on Mother's Day on a Saturday, and I was tired. I was just been on a long flight, 37 hours of layovers, and I said to my mom, I think I have a really bad headache, and I don't get a headache at all. So I think I'm going to go to bed early. And so I went to bed about 8 o'clock, and I fell to sleep in the recliner in my den. Woke up about 5 o'clock, still had the headache, and I went and exercised, went and ran, came back in the house about 5:45, made me some cup of coffee, walked into my mother's room, and I said, baby, are you up? And she said, not yet, but I'll be up about 30 minutes from now. Go say hi to your dad. He's up. My dad had Alzheimer's and dementia. I walked in his room, and the caretaker, Beverly, was sitting there watching my dad. And I sat down and visited with my dad, had a glorious conversation. And I kissed on the cheek, and I went back in the kitchen, made me another cup of coffee, walked down the stairs, turned on ESPN because you guys have no sports. So I was starved for sport, And so anyway, I sat down and I set my coffee down, and that's the last I remember. It was just, I was found about 30 minutes later by the caretaker. I was told this, I didn't remember it. And she was standing up in the kitchen and said, do you want some food, Paul? Didn't answer. Do you want some food? I could hear her, but I couldn't answer. And she walked downstairs with a coffee pot. And I really remember her screaming, something's wrong with Paul. And she dropped the coffee pot and went running to my mother's room. Everything from there is a blur. Ambulance, sounds, all this stuff. I could throw a baseball and hit the hospital from my mom's house. And so it didn't take long, but there was some confusion. The people were told I was never up, and they didn't give me the shot blocker to counteract my stroke because they couldn't prove I was up. That was really strange for me because I was up. But they put me in the back of an air ambulance and took off. And I remember the ride in and out. I was lucky to be alive when they landed in Shreveport Medical Center. My daughter was standing right inside the door when they pushed me on the cart. And I somewhat remember her, but everything from that was just I couldn't talk. I wanted so bad to talk. I just didn't know about aphasia, didn't know about anything. I didn't even know I had a stroke. I just knew I was in trouble.
So that's my motto. Don't you know I've had a stroke? Because that's in the hospital. That's if I was lazy, which I was at times. I say, don't you know I've had a stroke? So,
I say that all the. By the way, don't you know I had a stroke? Listen to me.
but people ignore it now. It's gone now. I can't use it much, especially with my wife.
Yeah, I don't have a wife because I would use it, but uh, so that's what happened, and I didn't get my first speech lesson to 7 weeks because there was all kind of confusion, bad information. I was told, funny story. 5 days into my hospital stay, I could only say 1111111. That's it. 11111111. And my kids were in the room, and talking to the doctor, and the speech therapist was in there too. The neurologist was in there too. So 3 doctors. And talking to my kids, referring to me as if I wasn't sitting there. Your dad will have to adjust to a new normal. Your dad is not going to be able to talk. He had progressive aphasia. He got motor praxis. That's the first thing I ever heard about aphasia. I didn't even know what that was. Aphasia what? So I'm sitting there listening. Your dad has to learn to a new way of communication. Maybe he should learn to sign. I had a sign for him. I didn't do that. I had something in mind. And I was listening. Your dad will never be able to read again. Your dad won't be able to write again. Your dad's been greatly affected. 1/32 of an inch, he would be gone. So I had a pen, and I was listening to this nonsense. So I took my pen, pretty good thrower, I was quarterback, and threw it at the neurologist's head, and he ducked. And my son said, I think he wants you to leave. And I did. And I demanded to be taken out of that hospital immediately. Just get me out. So Mike, they wouldn't listen to me. I don't know if you had any funny stroke stories, but the funny thing about being on blood thinners, the funny thing about being on taking immense blood thinners, I have a real rare condition, and that's what caused my stroke. I pulled my IVs out, I did, and walked down the hall with my blood flapping in the wind, and tried to get on the elevator, and everybody's go, hey, stop. Hey, Mr. Cummings, stop. 11111. So my daughter.
Were you clothed?
No, not at all. I was blinding them with ass all the way down the hallway. And I didn't care. So my daughter, hey, daddy, you need to not get on that elevator. You can't leave the hospital. I said, okay. I'm going to stand right here with my foot against the wall till you take me out. I didn't know what that was, bleeding nonstop, bleeding out of both IVs, just bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. And once I noticed that, I said, well, you need to get something done because I'm going to sit here and bleed to death. I couldn't say it, but I was thinking it. So they got me back to the hospital in the room, and they promised to not do that again. So I got out of that hospital about 4 o'clock that afternoon and moved to another hospital.
And could you eat, Paul?
I couldn't eat. I didn't want to eat. I didn't. I just couldn't. I couldn't swallow. I couldn't swallow at all. And I hated that swallow test. I hate it. I didn't want to take it. They would do this, I wasn't down for that. I was a bad patient.
Did they feed you with a peg?
No.
I had somebody next to me who was, he was watching everybody eat and he was fed by a peg. But the day before I left hospital, he had a chocolate mousse and I cried.
Oh, yeah. I didn't want to eat. To be honest with you, when I said I was a bad patient, I was. Because, Mike, you learn a lot about yourself having the stroke. I was used to being in control of my life. I was used to being the man in my company, multiple companies. I was used to having my way about running my business. And all of a sudden, I found myself not in control. Couldn't say anything. It was like a world-class athlete got paralyzed because without my words, without my ability to talk, I knew it was all over. And it was at that time. I had to refund many speaking engagements, lost a boatload of money. But when I got out of the hospital, they took me home, made the long drive from Shreveport to Chattanooga, where I'm sitting now. And I was sitting in my paint studio in my workout center. I had a paint studio and workout center together, and I was locked myself in. I was just not I wasn't good patient. I was somewhat mean to my kids because I couldn't get them to understand me. I wasn't saying one. I was saying I want something, but I couldn't get it out. One, but it was derivative of want. I want something. I couldn't even I want Starbucks. I couldn't say it. So I was just stuck in my own mind. I was devastated. I was emotional. I was depressed. I was sad. I was angry. People were making decisions all around me. I couldn't understand anything. And I knew some of those decisions were bad decisions, but I couldn't communicate it. So about 2 weeks in, this is really important. My son, Ryan. Came in the garage and he said, "Dad, I know you have lost all your gifts. But you got to start somewhere." And he brought me this. kindergarten pre-K book from a man that been giving speeches all over the world. I was reduced to that. So I opened this book up. That's the cover. Okay, I opened this book up, and the first thing said sock, sock. So I sat there for a week trying to form the sock. I couldn't say it. Finally, Ryan came in the room, and I held my hand up, and I said, sock, sock, sock. Believe it or not, I had doubled my vocabulary in 1 week because I could say one sock, one sock, one sock. And I called on the phone to my mama, one sock, one sock, one sock. And that was the start of something amazing. So 7 weeks later, I had my first speech lesson. And a girl named Christina. I went down to my home in Florida to be by the water, and this little lady walked in, Southern Belle, pretty as so pretty, and she said, "I can't believe." She'd sat down and said, "You've been dealt a terrific blow. But I'm going to tell you something. Do you want to talk again?" Do you want to talk again? And she drew a square, yes, no. And I checked yes. And she said, and she wrote this down, let's do it then. Let's do it then. And that was the start of something great. My son started it. My kids were very supportive. And Ryan also got me this. And vocabulary flashcards 4th grade. I was moving on up. And Christina had me order this. I would like to suggest to anybody that has aphasia, if they don't have this book and they're not scared of work, get it. Because what I did, if I could show you sometime, we'll get together sometime over in Wells, and I wrote every word in this book. Every word.
Wow.
I couldn't say it, but I wrote it, traced it. Every word in the book. Christina came back and I said, and she said, "What are you doing?" And I just wanted to get better. So 14 hours a day of practice nonstop. Everybody told me too much work. You're not resting enough. I was on a mission. I wanted to talk. I wanted to say my creed. I hereby promise to manifest the personal greatness that lies within me. You know, I just wanted to say, I wanted to use my granddaddy's quote, "Do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. Passion prevails when everything else fails," Mike. And from a guy that was told that I would never talk again.
How did it feel when you said one sock?
I would, well, 2 events, aha moments. That was one of them. When I said one sock, I realized if I could say one sock, I could say something else. The realization hit me with enough work. The mind is an amazing thing, but just not the mind. You have to get your mouth to make the syllables. So you have to start the I did. I practice sounds all the time, and I still do. I'm teaching Michelle to do that too, and Casey to do that too. You have to make the sounds because your mouth is rendered lazy. So you want to say it, but what comes out of your brain and comes out of your mouth completely different, So I couldn't say my son's name, Ryan, and I was so mad because I wanted to thank him. Interestingly enough, I had been practicing or, bore, more, so I could say that. I was big, the R on the end of the word, I could say it, or, more, bore. I could say that. So I put or, Ryan in the middle, and bore at the end. Or Ryan bore, or Ryan bore, or Ryan bore. I was saying my son's name, Wyan. I couldn't say it. But when I combined it, or Ryan bore, or Ryan bore, or Ryan bore, or Ryan, or Ryan. I figured out to say it on my own.
This is a strange question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I've always wondered, I've got a physical disability and I didn't lose my voice. I think my wife wishes I did sometime.
You're so funny, Mike.
Do you think is worse, physical or losing your voice?
I would have to say, I don't want to put anybody down. Your physical disabilities, I had a little slurring in my speech. I know my mouth was drooped. My hand was a little bit messed up. I worked on that. But for me, I can't speak for, I was quoted as saying, I would have rather been paralyzed than lose my voice. But for me, I traveled 37 years, never spoke with a note, and I still don't, because I was adamant that I would be able to retain my information, speak. They told me I couldn't do that either, by the way. So I believe any disability you have the ability to lead a great life if you choose to do so. My good friend Courtney had paralyzed from the waist down. I had her on my show. Paralyzed from the waist down, 32 years old. And she learned to walk again just by sheer will. Sheer will. I would be remiss to say, because I believe that to lose your voice is everything. Communication is the way we get about doing anything. Visiting with our family, cutting up with our friends, going to the pub and having a beer and telling lies about each other. That's in England, they all do that. Scotland is worse. Irish, the best. They they can drink them under the table. So I don't know. I couldn't talk. I couldn't read. I couldn't sing. I couldn't write. I just, it was hard.
I'm going to share one moment with you. It's a little video but it's a bit like your I suck moment. So
Thank you.
that's it.
Wow.
That was my I suck moment, being able to walk, you know. And I know I will walk on land again. I'll walk about that water and walk.
You know, I believe you can do anything. It just, you know, sometimes people want what they want really bad, and they want it what they want right now. But you have to slow down to speed up. You have to do less with more impact to reinforce the behaviors that you need to walk. Like I needed to learn my sounds before I could say a syllable. I just needed to learn. I couldn't say anything. But you know, I had a goal, and my goal was that add 15,000 words to my vocabulary in the first year. I was told, no way. End of the year, Mike, May 13th, 2019, I had learned 15,360 words. And then I had a goal to get to the end of the next year with 30,000 learned words. I got there too. And you can do anything, but first, I had to learn to say the words with accuracy, clarity, flow, fluency. You know, somebody asked me on the show the other day that in Atlanta, did you ever think it was over? Yes. Yes. But I got back up and did it again, even though I thought it was over. My mindset was if anybody can talk, I will learn how to talk. The second thing, my mom sent me a video of Tom Broussard. And my mom had an interesting way of doing things. She sent me a video and said, watch this. She didn't say, watch it when you have time. She said, watch this. This guy had a stroke, and he's standing up, making a speech. Suck it up, buttercup, and do the work. That's what my mom told me.
I was, we all know Jerry Ward.
Oh, yeah.
Brooke Allen was amazing, I thought, yesterday.
Yeah. I interviewed her June the 8th earlier this year, and it just was amazing. And I thought the progress Brooke has made since that time, the improvement in speech, the exercise program she's initiated. She is a modern day Wonder Woman, and she doesn't take no for an answer. Can't is not in her vocabulary at all, and I am just proud of her. And Jerry's my best, you know, my best buddy or mate.
No, he's mine.
I don't know why he wears those high heel shoes, but that's another story for another day,
But he's my friend, not yours. We'll share him.
You were in the theater, right?
Yeah, and you're interesting, I used to teach my youth theatre how to do the vowels, and it was A, E, I,
Exactly.
O, ooh. And they're going, why
Exactly.
is it ooh? And I said, well,
Ooh, ooh,
ooh.
ooh. I did that forever. A, E, I, O, ooh, ooh. I did it over and over and over again.
So Brett says, love your mom, Paul Cummings, and I never met her.
Yeah. Brad,
Brad, hey now.
hey now. I got in trouble, said, hey now. Did emoji. Hey, Lynette.
Lynette Price as well is watching.
Man, what a story Lynette has. So much
And
courage.
Yvonne
Hey,
Kent, Yvonne
on.
from
Athens,
Athens, Greece.
what's going on, Yvonne? Love you.
Isn't it great, Paul, this community
Oh,
we
yeah.
have?
Yeah.
When I look back, I was thinking of ending it all, because I couldn't cope. But now I feel like I've got a new lease of life.
You do. And, Mike, the fact that you were encouraged and decided to do your own show, there's a lot of people that doing their own show. And I really glad we're building this community globally, but we did it the right way. We didn't run any ads or, just referral and come see, but I'm proud of you, Mike, and you have a great sense of humor. You're going to do well on your show because you make people laugh, and that's good.
I think that's what saved my life in hospital. Was we had a care assistant. He wasn't a nurse, but he gave me my first bath. But what he made me do was find me again, and made me laugh
Good.
because
What's
of
your favorite play that you were ever in?
A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Uh, what did you play?
Lysander.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My favorite play was Fiddler on the Roof.
If You Were a Rich Man.
If I was a rich man, da 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 da. Yes, I love that song.
Did you do the bottle dance?
I did. I did. I did. I couldn't dance, but I learned it. Bad.
I'm going to show a few pictures, Paul, if you can explain them.
Life is a gift, treasure it. That was a speaking engagement that I did in Michigan at Battle Creek, the largest inner city school in America. I was there to speak to the kids. I have a penchant for that. And it makes me mad that so much is done for so many that have so much. Why don't we do so much for so many that have so few? So that was my driving force. I just love to speak at schools. Where did you go, Mike? my living room.
Is that your Christmas trio?
Yes, go ahead. Show it. Watch.
Oh, wow, that's lovely.
Well, there's a lot of trees in this house, not just one, but we love Christmas.
I had to laugh this morning on the news. They were doing thing about Christmas tree, and in Australia, a koala had come in and
I saw that.
got in the
The
tree.
Christmas tree in the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lynette says we are family of overcomer.
We are every day. Have a great day, you both. Great show. Love you both. Hey, Jerry, call us and give us some advice. We could use it. I want to, when I grow up, I want to be just like you, except the hair.
Or lack of.
Exactly.
And he walks like a penguin.
I'm not, no comment. walks like an Egyptian.
So Paul, what I don't like talking about it, but can you solve this pandemic?
No, I believe it's been a lot of bad information. I have no respect for Fauci at all. He's been all over the place. Don't go to school. Oh, schools is the safest place. And he just says what he ever needs to say to be popular. And so I just, I believe it's time we get back to work.
And we have this vaccine now, and the UK are the first ones to have it. I bet Trump isn't pleased about that.
Well, I believe he's pleased because Operation Warp Speed, that's the thing that it got done, whether it's in England or not. They funded that. So it's okay.
So you haven't got a conspiracy theory that we're being injected with alien DNA or something?
No, I have my own thoughts about it. I believe it was allowed to spread intentionally. I do. So we'll see. We just need to do the right thing. 3 W's: wash our hands, wear a mask, and
hands, face, space.
Well, I think there was a really big mistake when they said social distance. They should have said physical distance. Because then when they said social distance, it took people's. I could see people walking down the street, crossing the street, wouldn't look at anybody else. But, you know, I don't do politics on my show. I don't, you know, we all have our way of doing this. And because you asked me, so I'm going to tell you, I have been very careful, but I haven't been a hermit. I have lived my life. And I haven't got it, and I'm susceptible to getting, I have a breathing disorder, but I've been very careful.
Oh, so Yvonne says Jerry walks like John Wayne.
Oh, yeah. John Wayne.
Lynette says,
Jerry wishes he was John Wayne.
Lynette says, great show, Mike and Paul.
Well, thank you, Lynette.
Oh, that's great. So, Paul, we're almost coming to the end. So, can I have some wise parting words, please? Because I love your wise words.
Oh, thank you. Well, can just speak directly to anybody that has aphasia. It's okay. If you have aphasia, they're going to tell you that will be with you for the rest of your life. That's true, but make it your friend, not your foe. And use aphasia as a reason to develop a really good mindset. Use it as a reason to say affirmations. Use it as a reason to meditate. Use it as a reason to work out. Use it as a reason to eat healthy. Use it as a reason to practice. Use it as a reason to drill. Use it as a reason to rehearse your techniques. When you get up every day, you want to have one day, 86,400 seconds. We all have a starting date. We're all going to have an ending date. The dash in between is the most important thing. And I would ask anybody, what is the meaning of your life after all? To get stuff or to share stuff? To accumulate wealth or be kind? To hate or to love? So love your aphasia. Fall in love with your disability so you can show the world we're okay too. We have the same sense of humor. We have a wonderful, wonderful thing in front of us. It's called life. You're muted, Mike. Mike.
I was just saying, in Jerry's words, a stroke is not for the weak.
It isn't. But, we all have our sore toe. My mom used to say, if you step on somebody else's sore toe, they're going to step on yours. So we all have a cross to bear. It's how we deal with it. A great guy from England, Benjamin Disraeli, said, it's men are not the creatures of circumstance. It's how you respond to them. And that's true. If we can respond in a good way, we can learn something every day and use it for better,
One last question, Paul, because my wife will hit me for them. Do you have a faith?
Oh, yeah. Immense faith. Immense faith. I talk about this all the time. So I'm going to put it in this way. If you get distraught and you're depressed and you look down for your answers, you're not going to find anything looking down. You have to look up with faith and belief, and don't get God in a hurry. God answers his own prayers in his own time because he knows what's best for you.
Oh, she'll love that. Thank you for that. And thank you for this interview. I love you so much. And
I love you. And if anything I can do for you, anything, I'd like to have you on my show sometime, and it would be an honor. But Mike, I believe, I know you need to go, but I need to say one thing to you. You're somebody special because you are. And I believe you have great things in front of you to share with the world. And I just wanted to tell you that I'm honored to know you.
oh, that means so much. Thank you very much. And thank you for doing this. And I'll see you soon. Bye. Okay, guys. So thank you very much. Great show. Thank you to Paul. And love you. Stay safe and see you soon.